my heart just sank and I was like, holy shit. And I went and did it and she was like,
wait, hang on. All right, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Stanley, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming in. Why don't you quickly introduce yourself and we'll get started.
Hey guys, my name is Hercules Noble. I'm a private chef and a content creator. I cook for people for dinner parties, events and things like that. And I make silly ass sourdough videos online and promote my private catering.
I love it. I love this so much. So I don't know how much you know about me, but like my old life was all hospo. I was hospo my whole career.
I did not know you had a background in hospo.
Yeah, so I like literally like ran hotels, restaurants, bars my whole career.
So you know the struggle, dude.
I know your world.
The struggle.
I know your
yeah.
world.
How long were you in hospo for?
15 years.
Holy shit,
Yeah,
dude, you
so-
lasted longer than me. I don't consider myself as hospo still.
Nah.
You know, I'm
Just private chef.
well. I mean, hospo
I know
for
what
4 or
you're
5
saying.
years.
I know what you're saying.
It's
I know
not the
what you're
same
saying.
now.
It's
You
not
know,
the same.
yeah.
It's a whole different world, but still like it is still the world of service.
That's what I was gonna say. It's
Yeah.
service. It's not quite
Yeah.
hospitality.
And the difference that like where I think hospitality plays is that people who go to restaurants and bars and hotels, maybe not nightclubs or bar-y bars, but like when you're going into these places to have a meal or sleep or whatever, it's kind of like a second home. You know what I mean? Like
It
that
is.
doesn't happen in many other businesses,
Yeah.
right? Like in our business, we're definitely not a second home. Like people are out of their comfort zone when they come here.
Yep.
But you go to a restaurant, you expect things to be the way they are
Yes.
at home.
Yep.
And yours is to the extreme, probably. Being private chef.
Dude, mine is my life is just all meshed into one.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I struggle with a lot.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
is separating professional life from personal life.
Interesting. Tell me
Because-
about that more before we get into other stuff. You've taken me somewhere else, so let's go. Tell me that struggle.
Dude, look, you know, hospitality. We work on the weekends.
Yep.
You know, we get
Yep.
up our social lives. Our like Saturday and Sunday are like a Wednesday morning, like a stray Wednesday morning or a
Yep.
stray Wednesday evening when you have a day off.
Yeah.
And what I struggle with now actually is so much of my content revolves around me,
Yeah.
and I struggle to really like know when to switch off. And with growth as well, I struggle to be, I struggle to see where my persona is,
Got it.
where your online character is,
Got it.
where what Hercules is like when he's being interviewed,
Yep.
and when I'm just like myself.
Yeah.
You know, there's a fine line which is quite difficult.
Is
to
that because
not overtread.
cooking or chefing is like, was that a passion for you first?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always like my early memories.
Yeah.
I'm British, so
Yeah.
I grew up in England, and my parents, they used to have this oven called an Aga.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's a very traditional classic. English listeners will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's always on, which is ridiculous. And I used to sit next to that when I was that big with my dad, and my dad would be cooking. And I always kind of enjoyed it. I remember tasting. I remember my dad always would give me a bit of spaghetti and be like, is it done, Herc?
Cool.
All that sort of stuff. And then I started watching Jamie Oliver, and then I was like,
Got it.
I like this.
Yeah.
Like this, I like this a lot.
Love it. And that's when it's hard for people to switch off. Because when you've built a career on your passion,
Oh, dude.
the thing you want to do to relax
Yeah.
is do the thing you do to make money.
Exactly. And I feel right now I do still actually have a good relationship with food.
Yep.
You know, so many chefs, dude.
Yep.
So many chefs are,
Terrible.
I'll make you fantastic food for 12 hours and I'm working. I go home, I'm having like, I'm ordering takeouts, a freezer meal, whatever it is.
It's so common.
Or you finish your shift. I remember working in kitchens, dude. You finish your like 12 hours or something, and you sit there and you eat like a bunch of leftover fried chips or something and be like, I've just been making nice ass food for people and now I'm
know.
eating this.
It's so normal. Like that's why when I was watching like the Bear series, I found that so good. Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it.
Oh mate, you if you've come from hospo, like it's a good show anyway. But if you come from hospo, the way they were able to capture the frantic chaos that happens in a kitchen and in a restaurant, but also just like when he finished work, then he'd be at home and he was just eating crap. Like just eating like a burger or something, like just terrible food. He just made the best food possible.
I'm thrilled that even though I haven't seen it, I'm thrilled that comes across in it and that it became such a hit show.
Yeah.
Because people are like, especially in the last like 5-10 years,
Yeah.
especially right now, like, you know, celebrity chefs became a thing. Then Instagram became a thing, TikTok, and you know there are like a whole nother level of creatives that are creators that are chefs, and they are. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're a chef creator."
Yeah.
It's not. It's like being a chef is not a glamorous job.
No,
99% of the time.
Not if you work in a commercial kitchen.
No.
Most, especially there, right? If you work in any sort of kitchen, it's terrible and like just unhealthy.
Yeah. dude, some people love it and some people are made for that.
Yeah.
I learned after 5 years, I was not made for it. I learned a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky I did it.
Yeah.
But
where did you work in that world? What were you doing when you were working as a like in the hospital world?
In the hospital world?
Yeah.
So I actually left school.
Yeah.
I'll start. I'll answer the question starting from a slightly different point.
Yeah,
I
please.
left school. I went to a private school, and their whole thing was like everyone, you got to go to university.
Yeah, okay.
We pride ourselves on our university entrance.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're going to become a doctor, like you need to go and do this. You need to go and do your 7 years, whatever it is, or you're just going to be study art or something.
Yeah.
Which isn't always necessary, you know?
No.
So I left school as a creative and I was like, man, what do I do? I'm good at designing things. I'm good at drawing things.
Yep.
I come from a family of creatives.
Cool.
Let's go and do that design course at university, which for me was a bit of a joke, but that's because it doesn't inspire me. I don't learn in the classroom. And I got a part-time job at Little and Friday Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
You know Little and Friday?
Yeah.
They're just down the
I know
road
the
down
one.
Ponsonby.
Yeah.
So the one in Belmont.
Used to be in Takapuna. Oh, no.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Taka.
Yeah.
It's so funny, man. I think back to this moment whenever anyone asks me about this as well.
Yeah.
I remember being on my semester break.
Yeah.
So I did my first 6 months of design school at university in Wellington at Massey.
Yeah.
Was so uninspired.
Yeah.
Just doing your typical first year university things. And I went to Little and Friday because my family loved it as a 19-year-old.
Yep.
My mum was sitting there with me in the cafe and she was like, there's Kim, there's the owner.
Yeah.
I know you like food. You're up here for 3 weeks. You're not going to sit on my sofa doing nothing all this time. Go and ask her for a job. I remember my heart just sank and I was like, holy shit. And I went and did it and she was like, yeah, you can follow a chef or you can I'll pay you minimum wage to make my life easier. Absolutely. Yeah. She said yes, which I'm so grateful for.
That's so
because
cool.
that started me in it. And I got that part-time job.
Yeah.
I was only supposed to be doing it for 3 weeks. After 2 weeks, the chef that I was following, shadowing, left. And she was like, can you take this role up? And I was like, fuck yeah, I can.
Wow.
Fuck yeah, I can. Of course, I went back to my family and thought about it for a couple of days. It's a big decision. And they were like, Herc, drop out. If you really think this is what you want to do, then do it. And dude, I'm so grateful.
That is
so grateful I did. Yeah.
And so, okay, wait, hang on.
Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place.
No, I love this. But so you took that job, 2 weeks you said?
I was there for 2 weeks, and then I got the job.
Okay, when we're saying you're taking over this chef's job, what was their job?
So this is another funny thing, dude. It went from, I went from my university life of maximum 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
And drinking 2 or 3 nights a week.
Yep.
Not
Uni
excessively, but just first year uni, you know,
fun.
It is what it is.
Yep.
And got this part-time job and she was like, yeah, you can help, but you're starting at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. So going from this to this, and that was my first experience of being like, oh my goodness, I get satisfaction out of what I'm doing, out of the work that I'm putting in.
Okay, cool.
And so my job was, I was in the savory kitchen, man. So I would be the dude that got there in the morning and pulled out the giant tub of beaten up eggs and pour them into the quiches.
Got it.
Start rolling up all the brioche. The poor bread woman had been there since 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Making the brioche.
Not jealous of bread.
Bread people's
pastry chefs.
Yeah. Chefs think they have it worst. Oh man, oh my goodness, if you're a baker.
Yeah, bakers.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
So you started off as I don't know if Little and Friday had the same brigade style thing, but essentially a commie.
Yes.
Starting off in a commie role.
Yeah.
And did you so as you went through that career, did you just hands-on experience going through it, or did you properly go through an apprenticeship and be qualified, or you just went through hands-on?
I'm not a qualified chef.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. I just started and thought school or a course is for some people.
Yep.
I think I made it pretty clear that throughout school I don't learn in a classroom. I can't even learn, Stanley, if you were about to tell me how to do this. I have to be doing it with you.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I have to be hands-on.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience of being hands-on.
Yeah.
in an area in a kitchen where I was wide-eyed, you know, wide-eyed, and you go and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna fuck this up.
That's cool.
And you give it everything, and yeah.
And how did you progress through it? Because I'm fascinated because like I've not really met a lot of people who did it that way. Because I know of people who have, but a lot of the chefs I've worked with have all done quite a traditional process of going through.
Yep.
They would have. Not a lot of them studied. Most of them did it through apprenticeship.
Yep.
I've only met a handful who went to like tertiary education and did it that way. Most of them just like went in, got an apprenticeship, started. But so like you went in as commie, sort of essentially. How did you get to the point where you're at now? Like, what was that journey like getting up until the point where you were confident enough to go out as a private chef?
Oh, dude, this is an 8-year journey, man.
Tell me about that. Like, what are the milestones at least?
So I did my first 2 years as a chef at Little and Friday.
Cool.
And I'm not going to in any way be like, oh, I rose to the top, but I became a very heavily valued member of staff.
Cool.
And that was an awesome experience. And then I got to a point, dude, am I going to like go through the last 10 years of my life now?
Just milestones. Hit me the milestones. Like all the big moments that were like key differences as you learn. Because you obviously know more than just patisserie. And baking, right? Because I've seen you do other things.
Yes,
so.
I mean, it was a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
I still somehow managed to be like, I enjoy cooking when I get home.
Cool.
There were definitely periods where I didn't. So I did my 2 years at Little and Friday.
Yep.
I was towards burned out, being burnt out, and at about 21, I said to my dad, I was like, I'm looking for an overseas opportunity, something different to do. And he said, oh, I worked on a vineyard about 30 years ago in the south of France. I could probably dig up someone's email and put you in contact and you could go and help out in any which way.
Yep.
I went over, I mean, we can go into detail later if you want to, but I went over there and I helped for 2 months working in a beautiful vineyard in the south of France. And I told them I was a chef, but I was like, look, I'm not going to come here and go, I'm a chef. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm a dude who's been working in kitchens for 2 years. And so I helped out in a cellar for about a few days. And then they were like, Herc, do you want to start doing your bit of cooking for the team?
Yeah.
And I got on a moped. Like so idyllic, so ridiculous. I got on a moped in the south of France in this beautiful vineyard. The most, like I can see it now, the most outrageous views. And I would go down to all the local markets and the poissonnerie, like all the fish shops, the boulangerie, and pick, dude, in the Mediterranean as well. You know where you are, like south of France, on the top of the Mediterranean. Think about what you have access to there 100%. In terms of food. So I was there going, I'm getting to fulfill my creative like drive. In a kitchen, I was learning a lot, and I got to a point where I thought, oh, I'm not getting fulfilled creatively anymore. Then I had this experience. I was making whatever I wanted for them every single day. They were loving it.
Were you just thinking you were Jamie Oliver on his little moped going to the markets? And just like, like his old show?
Dude, everything I do for Jamie.
I love it. That's all I can see in my head is just like rocking down your little moped, getting your fresh, talking to the market.
Yeah, it's so idyllic, man. It's like a 21 or 22-year-old. So I did that for 2 months. Then I came back to New Zealand, did a little bit more work with Little and Friday. Cool. And then earlier the following year, my brother who lived in London said, hey, there's this really awesome Kiwi place called Ozone Coffee. And we've got a place in Old Street in East London. There's a Kiwi chef running it. I know you're looking for a new overseas experience again. Went there, did that for about 8 months before I was fully like, absolutely wrecked. My parents came over and said, Herc, you look unwell.
Hospo in London's another thing.
A whole nother thing.
It's a whole nother thing. Yeah, mine was 5 doubles and a single, my roster, every week. 5 doubles and a single. I was like, wait, what do you mean? They're like, so 5 double shifts. So 9 till 11. 9 till 11 every day. That's 5 days a week. And then 1 day a week, you get to do 9 till 5. That's like your short day. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh,
and
dude.
you'll pay me what to do that?
Like minimum. Why am I here? It doesn't make sense, but you do it. And some people go through and they do that, and that's either they love it or they don't have anything else to do. And I feel grateful that I've gotten out of it in a sense. But so I did that stint. And it just so happened that I was going to quit at the time where I went back to France the previous year. So I got in contact with them and said, guys, can I do this again for you?
Cool.
They were like, yeah, come back for another 2 months. Did that, was beautiful. Came back to New Zealand at the start of summertime. went, all right, this is time off for me. I haven't been in the country for much of a year. I want to spend some time with family and friends.
Cool.
And some family friends, some beautiful, dear family friends of ours said, hey, can you just start doing the odd like job for us? Just cook for some, when we have some friends over.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, yeah, dude, it'll be a good way of me making a few $100s every week or two. And then some of their friends were like, hey, can you do something for me?
Yeah.
And it just went from there. Then one of them said, hey, Herc, can you come to New York with us to work for us for a good 6 months?
No, I'd hate that. No, terrible idea.
Yeah. And then it went from there, and that was where I actually learned to, thinking about this out loud, actually, it's quite funny. That's where I learned to, a big part of being a private chef is you're going to someone's house.
Yeah.
And you have to, it's not just about making nice food for you. I can't come into your house and be an absolute cunt.
Yeah.
I've got to come into your house and make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It's weird having a stranger come into your house.
Sure.
So I learned there to live with the client and make sure that, you're presenting yourself well.
Yeah.
You're easy to work and live with to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I did that for 6 months in New York.
That's so good.
COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And then, COVID came back here.
Yeah.
And that's when I got the courage to start putting stuff on social media.
Okay, so this is when it started.
Yeah. What was that, 2020?
So essentially, you're a lockdown baby, like so many people. But that is good, right? It's a catalyst for so many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what it was, actually? It's so funny to think, and I do think about this sometimes. Instagram took away the like count around that period. And I finally just went, holy shit, no one can see how many likes I get. So if I put up this photo and it only gets like 12 likes, I don't think anyone can see.
Yeah.
And so I started putting stuff up and didn't really worry about it too much because you're so worried about what people are going to think.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm at the point where I don't really give a shit because I realize it doesn't mean much. So started sharing food on just the food that I was cooking over lockdown. Started my sourdough journey.
Yeah.
And like everyone else. And then
and they just blew up.
I just started going and people started saying, hey, can you do something for me? A lovely family again that I had never heard of, never been in contact with prior. They said, oh, Herc, we're about to go into the second lockdown, which was a 2-week lockdown. We didn't know how long it was going to be. Can you come and work for us full time as a private chef? Shit, yeah, I can. All right, do that. Learned a lot. Shared it all on social media because while everyone's inside doing sweet fuck all, I'm there being like, look at all the food I'm creating, cooking for people.
So good.
Learning a lot. And then it really just went from there, man.
Yeah.
And I have seasons.
Yeah.
I have seasons where summertime is my busy season.
Yep.
So kind of just
parties and things and events or just
before Christmas, it's all the Christmas parties and it's everyone's coming out of in springtime and going, oh, let's do things again.
Yeah, let's do stuff.
And then after Christmas, when everyone's on holiday in January, you're like, shit, all right, wedding season.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you do a few weddings as well. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, I do about 6 or 7 weddings.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Oh man, we went over so much stuff there.
Bro, that was so good. It gave me so much more context because like, I only know a lot about the creator journey, but it gives me a lot more context to say for stuff. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, there's so many places I want to go here. And I need to make sure that I'm actually asking you about like creative stuff, not just like getting into hospo chat. Which Connor knows, like when I get hospo creators on, like it ends up me just like talking hospo chat. Yeah. He's like, what are you
could end up with
about?
us just bitching about
hospo the whole time.
This guy was a massive asshole.
And so I'm like, a big part of my brain's like, I want to ask him about this stuff, but that's probably so irrelevant for what I actually asked him in for. I want to first go back to putting out content. So you started on Instagram and things. When was it? When was the moment you knew, shit, I'm on to something here? Do you remember that moment? Was there a particular video or something?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. Once I had the confidence to start sharing more than just static images, I started sharing how I make a delicious steak, how I make my breakfast videos, stuff like that. Which was a good, and my life as a private chef in a certain extent, which was good. I'd do voiceovers and things and try and show more of my personality, elevated personality, the personality that you put on when you're in front of a TV screen or a camera or a microphone. And it started, I remember hitting 1,000 followers, me like, Fuck yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That's cool, man. I'm pretty sure that makes me a micro-influencer.
I love it.
And built steadily over the course of, I'd say, a following year and a half.
Yeah.
Eventually made it to sort of around 10K.
Yep.
Just doing bits and pieces, and people would say, Herc, we like what you're doing. That's cool. And I'd love that. But I was aware, I was going, dude, and that's when I started to make a tiny bit of money out of it as well. Cool. Like a company saying, hey, Herc, can you use our pan? Can you make a video with us using our wine or something?
Yep.
And I was like, oh man, you can make money off this. This is cool.
Yeah.
Then I've got a few business savvy friends who are really good to chat to about this sort of stuff.
Perfect.
And basically I decided, I was like, all right, I need to come up with a series. Yeah. Series are all the rage. It gives you a reason to follow along. Got it. Oh, I like what I just saw on my Explore page. If it's a series, I know there's going to be more of it. Yeah. Have you seen, you know who Thomas Straker is?
I know the name.
Thomas Straker is a British chef. Yeah. He did a series called All Things Butter. Yeah. And it was so good. Yeah. This is All Things Butter. Yeah. Got it. This is spice tikka masala butter. And he started off with a beautiful Cornell, put it down and show everyone how he made it. Yeah. And you knew what you're going to get with it. Yep. It's a 25-second clip. Yep. Over and over. He'd do about 3 a week. Yeah. And they were blowing up everywhere. I was like, all right, I need to do a series. What can I do? What's like a bit unique to me? Yep. I was making content for 2 years going, why aren't that many people paying attention? It's because there are already 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 other content creators out there doing what I'm doing, except better than me. Yeah, so why the fuck should Instagram push my content? Yep. Why should people go, oh, Herc, we want your content? Yep. It's not unique. And I don't think people realize that as well. Yeah. You can make decent content to a decent enough standard, but as long as it's the same as everyone else, probably not going to get any growth. No, exactly. So honestly, Stanley, I came up with the idea of Willet sourdough. Yeah. That's what's unique to me, which is so fucking stupid. But it's so good. It's so silly. I'm just some dude putting different meals into sourdough, and people seem to love it. It is one of the best. It has been a staple of strategy sessions in our office. Really? Hey. Is that where? Willet Curry. Yeah. That's where that came from. Is that where what? Willet Curry came from. Yeah. Yeah. Sid. I know, I've seen that, Sid. I've seen that. But the thing, so Sid's a client. Yes. And the thing with Sid is that he's too busy to do it properly. Yeah. Yeah. Because he just was like, I don't have time to cook anything. He can't cook on film. Yeah. He can't cook on film. So we knew the idea was right. We knew the idea was right, but it required him to cook properly. To actually make curry out of stuff. Yeah. And he's like, nah, I don't. Oh, so dude, difficult to find time to do that. Right. And he's a busy man. He's got like 4 restaurants. Like he's fucking busy as shit. 4 amazing restaurants. Like top in country restaurants, right? Oh, am I going to try and start doing like longer form, like detailed content now? No, it's so hard. And we're like, look, we'll script everything. We just need you for 4 hours to make one video. And he's like, no. He's like, no, I'm not paying you for that. Yeah. And so like, so we did it, but then we had to abandon it because we're like, look, we tried to get it to work other ways, it didn't. So they've got a different concept. I think they're filming Friday. Are you guys filming Friday? Yeah, this Friday. Yeah, they're filming Friday. They're essentially just like strapping GoPro to him and putting some ones in his kitchen, and we're just going to film a whole live service every month. That's so good. That's because people are interested in that. Hey, people 100%. Want to see behind the scenes. There's so many people, I'm guilty of it to a certain extent, pushing the fancy side of it. Showing, oh, this is so awesome. Just to see what it's really like. Exactly. That's what we want. Someone at that level doing that. Being chef de cuisine for a fucking Cole or Cassie or something, it's going to be epic. Yeah. And I want to watch that. That's the thing I want to watch. But the Willet, like yours is good because you did it right, which was like, you didn't like, you built the meal into the bread. You know, like it became like the sourdough was the thing. Yeah. You know, like your big one that's like, I watched the other day, the carbonara one. Like, like, there's no other way to have done that. Is carbonara bread. Yeah. You know, like the way you did it? Oh, I learned a lot from that video. Hey, I learned a lot from that. But that was the first one that went. Yeah. And I just thought, holy shit. It's so good. Rinse and repeat. It's a formula, which I stumbled upon after fucking around for about 2 years making content. Yep. Started the Willet sourdough, did that for about 2 months. Yeah. Doing voiceovers, talking over the top of it. Yep. Doing some with music playing over the top of it. Yep. Captions, and then I just stumbled across a ASMR version, I guess. Quick paced, capture people's attention.
Yep.
And it worked. And I thought, all right,
good.
just do that, rinse and repeat. There are hundreds of thousands of meals out there that I can just, we'll see how long it lasts. I don't know.
One thing we've talked about a lot recently in the team is on viral content like this is if you can take a video and remove everything but the visuals and just get the visual, if you can literally watch with sound off and it works, then it's good.
Yes.
That's good. You can add video and audio on top, but often when you start with audio, you make the audio the thing.
Yes.
And then now humans don't understand it. Only English-speaking people understand it.
Oh, I learned that not long ago. Because
it's hard.
Yeah. I follow a few of those content creators that are talking about strategies and things. You're speaking English? Yeah, a lot of the world speaks it, but not
many.
Not
most people don't.
Yeah.
And so you need to visually tell the story first. And if you start from that perspective and add audio in later, fine. And like with your one, like that carbonara, and like there's little moments where we'll say something and right at the end where you're asking the mate to like figure it out.
Yeah.
But like you can even see, even if you turned off your audio for that last bit when you're asking him, you know what's happening. You're standing by him, you can tell what's going on here. Can you tell what you've just done?
Yeah.
So I really liked how you visually told it. We have a guy in our team, Ollie, who's a bit of a director outside of this job. He makes short films. And did you watch the short film the other day? Oh, so he just made a short film the other day, did an 8-minute one take filming. And it was all about blocking and staging of where he moved the camera and moved all the actors and he did this massive visual storytelling. You could turn off the audio and you would know exactly what happened.
Yep.
You don't need the audio.
Yep.
In fact, if you listen to the dialogue, nothing really happens. Nothing happens. All the emotion is in the way that the actors stand and frame and move and interact with the camera. And I feel like with your one, that's what you got right. You know, you got to the point where, you got it right because it worked. Like you got it right where the story, you don't need to know what you're doing. You can see it straight away.
Yeah. Well, that's literally just as a result of stumbling upon it, of throwing shit at the wall for a while and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And then something sticks and you go, all right, let's do that. And then you go, all right, how can I make it better? And also one of the main things I learned about, one of the biggest things I learned from that particular video is put some things in there that give people a reason to interact. I'm not saying go out there and try and piss off a nation.
No.
But what I am saying is piss off a lot of a nation by putting in pancetta instead of guanciale and using grana padano instead of pecorino to make a carbonara themed sourdough, which at the time, it's what I had in my fridge. I was like, I'm not going down the road to buy that. And then you have the amount of people in the comments going, that's not proper carbonara. It's like, dude, I'm putting carbonara in a bread. I'm not trying to show you. I'm not being like, this is how you make carbonara traditionally. And all the Italians, so easy to target, got infuriated.
That's a whole genre itself. Italians getting angry at Western, or like, I shouldn't say Westerners, but British descendants.
Jamie started that. Jamie pissed off the Spanish, the Italians.
Jamie pissed off everyone. Every European.
When he made a paella and put chorizo in or something.
No, I love that. That's so funny. Often the terminology in our business is like, what's the mechanism for engagement? Like, what are we trying to get them to do?
Yeah.
And like, are we trying to get them to follow, to comment about something, to engage in? Like, so what is that thing you put into it to encourage engagement? Because someone can really love a video and think it's great, but they won't like or engage because there's no mechanism in it.
Yes.
So that's the thing that you need. Like, what is that little bit?
Yeah. Give people a little prompt.
Yeah.
You're not always going to jump off the diving board by yourself. You've got to have the friends in the background. Be like, oh, mate.
Yeah.
Give me a little push.
So tell me, like, how did you get so good at making footage, at making film?
Oh, that's a very nice compliment, Stanley.
No, but you are. Like, you're very good at, like, framing, you're very good at composition, you're very good at lighting, you're very good at, like, storytelling.
That's nice to hear. That's so nice to hear.
But it's true.
Well, I don't know. Get a lot of messages saying
but this is the answer I thought it might be, which is like, I don't really know. I just like try stuff.
You try shit, dude. You try shit.
Yeah.
And you figure out, and then you look back at it, you study the content, and you go, this looks nice.
Yeah.
This doesn't look nice.
Yeah.
And
do you consume a lot?
I consume a lot, and I think I have quite a healthy relationship with social media.
Yeah.
It's pretty much impossible to avoid a lot of the bullshit because it just gets thrown at you, even if you don't follow the accounts these days, obviously. Yep. But I do use social media as a learning tool as well.
Cool.
Follow so many awesome chefs, awesome food accounts, and I just pick up little bits and pieces, save a post. I love the way you plated that. I love the way you created that content. I love the way that content's shot.
Cool.
Save it, go back and just look over things.
Got it.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot. I mean, Connor's getting real good at it now because he's getting better at it anyway, where like a thing that we try to teach everyone is like, you can't be good on social till you start to consume. Like great filmmakers didn't just wake up one day and were great at film.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino worked at the video store for years. And watch movies.
Yeah. And was an addict, no doubt, would be watching it all.
All of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, we say to people like consume, but and like, one of the things we say to the guys is like, as you're scrolling through this and you stop to watch a video, ask yourself, why did I just watch that? Go back and watch it again. What kept me there? Like, what did they do at the start to hold me here?
Yeah. What's the hook?
Dude, hook?
We have like, what is it? 90 milliseconds effectively.
It's nothing.
Is that what it is?
It's nothing. Like literally, like the way Joni and I have been talking about it lately in some strategy sessions is if I can look at the first frame and fully understand what I'm about to see, like as if it was a thumbnail instant impression, then you got it.
Yeah. Also, don't give the person an opportunity to keep scrolling.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. Hey, move fast. If you're...
Yeah, there's like the move fast thing is push the narrative forward. Don't stop the narrative. So it doesn't have to be quick film cuts and stuff. It has to be, it moves for purpose on short form.
Yep.
You don't like, once you've explained the narrative point, there's no more narrative point anymore, move forward into it. So like in yours cooking, you don't need to watch you cooking the pancetta for a long time. But in fact, in that one, you don't even see it. You just see it pouring in to the last piece, right? So you get it. The narrative's been moved forward.
And that's a difficult, again, a difficult thing to pick up. Where do I stop this and where do I start this?
Yeah.
Because I'm there going, I want to show everyone how I'm making this.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh shit, but I've only got 90 seconds to get it in there.
Yeah.
So
you got to pick and choose. And
exactly,
ours is less about like cutting and more about like, what we try to say to the guys is like, is the narrative moving forward? And if it's not, then cut some stuff. And if sometimes you push the narrative too fast forward and then you're like, I don't know how we got to this point.
Yeah.
Like I'm lost somewhere.
Yep.
We're missing a narrative piece. And how do you bring that back into it? And I think a lot of like where people get into a trap is like, oh, I just need this quick, fast. And it's like, no, but like I've lost the story now.
Yeah.
Like that's a piece I think was quite interesting with you. Like which I wanted to ask is, how much do you think about it in story? Like how much do you think you're telling someone a story when you're making these?
Well, there are all sorts of different forms of content, obviously.
Yep.
And what I did used to do actually, and this is still a success for a lot of creators online, is starting with the final product. I see the final product. Holy shit, I want to know how to make that. Or I want to know how to style that shirt. I want to know how they got to that point.
Yep.
I've seen the end of the story. I want to know how they got there. My sort of style is the very beginning to the very end.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gives people a reason to stick around.
Yep.
If I didn't have the carbonara Willet sourdough at the top there and it just started, I might capture some people's attention. But carbonara Willet sourdough and it starts with the guanciale going in, mixing, it all goes fast. I feel like I am kind of telling a story. Yeah. It's completely and utterly irrelevant. It's so silly. I say this all the time. People go, oh, tell me about, we love that sourdough stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's so silly.
Yeah.
But at least it's not, I don't think it's anything harmful.
No.
And it's not wasting people's time necessarily. It's entertainment. So much shit on social media is wasting someone's time or showing people harmless things, encouraging people to act like dickheads to get attention.
Yeah.
My thing is kind of just, hey, let's have a laugh and see if I can make this dish into a sourdough. Yeah. Is it going to be nice? Yes. No, it's not. Whatever. Cool.
Yeah. I think that is like when you've said it a couple times now, like, oh, it's so silly and so stupid, like this, especially the Willet sourdough thing. But I think like if you think about food and the evolution of food and recipes and how things have changed over time, It has always been about a bunch of people experimenting. I've got the stuff in my kitchen.
Yeah.
I need to put it together some way. How do I make that work?
Yep.
Will this work? Which is Willet sourdough, right? It's the same thing. Like it's family meals are that, right? Like family meals for restaurants or vineyards or what you were doing. It was about what have I got on hand? I need to make something. Like I remember the chefs. Like we had one chef, Ollie, who was this French Vietnamese chef who is Vietnamese, but he grew up in France and did all his training in France. And he was like old school French chef who, for all the family meals, all the staff meals, there's the bin. He'd get one of the commies. He'd be like, there's the bin. Go make lunch. And he'd just have to take the scraps out of the bin.
Okay.
And he'd have to figure out, like, I remember like eggshells and prawn heads and they would have to learn how to make
a meal soup from that.
A 21-year-old white kid who's never had pepper enjoy this thing made out of prawn heads and eggshells. Yeah. And they would.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm trying to say from that is like, that's why it's so interesting, because it's so human. It's so human to take, I've got this stuff. How do I feed feed myself? Yeah. But you've just done it in like a very aesthetic and cool, fun way. And you know how to cook. So then therefore like more often than not, even if it doesn't sourdough, you've still given it the best bloody shot to make it sourdough. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So I actually think like, I don't think it's stupid. It's human.
It's kind of a story, and I guess it gives people somewhat of a reason to hang about.
Do you think of it as story? Like, does it happen, or is it just something that you maybe can post-rationalize that, yeah, I do, or actually, I think this is the narrative I'm trying to get across?
I keep saying it's Stanley and it's boring, but I do think it's silly. It's like a silly entertainment. Yeah. It's like a silly drama film that isn't going to change your life. No. It's not going to teach you a valuable lesson. No. But it's just entertainment.
It's fun.
It's a silly comedy. It's Adam Sandler. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. But I guess what's interesting about that for people watching is that like you can see, because you've already explained about how you've told a narrative, and it's the narrative that's helped the content do well. You might not think of it consciously every time you go into film. You're just like, I'm going to do this fun thing. It's entertaining. But there is definitely something subconscious playing into it. Like, I need to put this in this order so people can follow along the reason you got stuff. Yeah. And I think that's interesting because that often separates the good and the bad. Someone else can do a Willet sourdough and it won't work because they haven't got the narrative structure right. Yeah. So you're not going to get to the end. They don't care.
Yeah. It's quite funny, actually. That makes me think, because the way I shoot the video is I realized a good hook for me is to be putting whatever I'm putting in sourdough into the dough right away. People aren't interested in seeing me mix the dough beforehand. Also, I just made like a birria loaf the other day and I put a handful of birria beef into the dough, mixed it all up, then let it ferment for 6 hours. That would probably give someone food poisoning. I don't use that. I mix it in later because it just makes more sense for the video. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you are mixing and changing. Yeah. Just to make sure you try and capture.
Just to make sure you get the right video. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So you get in the narrative structure in there, even if that's not consciously what you're thinking at the time. You know, this is what I got to do, right? Which I think is important for creators who are trying to figure out how to like get out of that like view jail they talk about, you know, like I can't quite
out of the what, sorry?
The view jail, like people talk about I can't get past a certain amount of viewership. Yeah. And it's mostly because you haven't carried the narrative forward with the audience with you. Yeah, yeah. Especially in the story like the Willet sourdough style or content. Yeah. You think about all the good like TikTok chefs or Instagram chefs, they're all very good at that, right? Like Andy Cooks is one where he will like, love he's got such a good narrative structure for how he does stuff. Yeah, I love it.
That's what bro, he's a big inspiration for sure. Yeah. Where he opens the fridge. What do you want for lunch, babe? Yeah. And it's just
so smart, something so simple
that everyone goes, yeah, we know Andy. Yeah. Yeah, all right. This is one of Andy's videos. Cool, let's go.
So easy.
Yeah. And I tried to sort of copy that when I started doing my day in the life of a private chef videos. Yeah. But what can my start be so that everyone knows this is Herc's video?
This is the one.
And it's me putting my apron on sort of thing. Yeah. Looking at the camera and starting a day, and that's the first few seconds. Yep. And trying to copy that sort of a style, basically, by the creators.
I know what I'm getting. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to ask, like, from that, okay, so we're blown up. Everyone knows you now. You've got this audience. I'm
not sure if I'm big in New Zealand. I don't think I'm big in New Zealand.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's our job to know. So it's like I have a skewed version of like who knows who now. Because it's our job to know people.
Yeah.
But
in scenes in New Zealand, in Auckland, but
I don't like. I'm not even sure if that matters these days. Like this is one of the things. This is a good conversation actually. I don't think it matters geographically who watches your content. It only matters if the thing you're trying to sell, if if you're a creator or a brand, if you can only sell to a geographic location.
Yes.
That's the only time it matters.
When it comes to monetizing content and collaborations.
Yeah, and it does for certain things. It just depends on what sort of collaboration you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like for you, like actually there's so many brands who are international who you could work with.
That's more of a goal for sure, to work with bigger brands. That are well
which
known
means
around
you just got to go back to New York.
Happening.
I mean, it's just so hard
happening.
in Auckland.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard in Auckland.
Yeah.
The big international brands, like, well, I could get him, or I could just get some massive person from the US.
Yeah.
Like that's just where their heads are.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, you're doing this private chef thing, which is cool because a lot of creators don't have this thing that's like actually the business.
Honestly, Stanley, I think that's such a big issue for so many people.
So massive.
You have to be so interesting and entertaining if your Instagram, your social media account is purely you.
Yeah.
If you don't have a skill, you better be fucking entertaining.
You better, right?
Yeah.
To be a personality,
yeah,
it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I know so many influencers and had them on the show that are talented as fuck, like so talented, but like they got nothing else than their talent, like their entertainment factor.
Yep.
But you've got this private chef world. So tell me about that. Like from a revenue perspective and growing that, like because you sounded like you already had a pretty good gig here. I mean, you went to New York for 6 months. You had this whole thing going on. Did the content make grow that business quite substantially?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
How? Tell me.
Dude, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So well. So well. I see Instagram as free marketing. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to put the work in myself. Yeah, I don't get paid to make a video about my day cooking for someone on a boat.
Yep.
But if I make a quick video about it and I'm getting more and more of a following, more and more people are seeing it, more and more people are sharing it.
Cool.
And if a few videos end up on the explore page, someone in France goes, "Hey, can you come and do something for me in the middle of the year for 2 weeks?" And you go, "Holy shit, yeah, of course I can."
Yeah.
And amazing opportunities have come up this year. Like I started, my account gained traction early November, I'd say around that period in time. And since then it's gone. And the opportunities, it's been the biggest summer of my professional life. And now going into wintertime, which is usually more of my downtime, I dip away a little bit here and there, but work slows down. Now I'm about to go overseas for 2 months and work and do some amazing opportunities that have purely come through Instagram.
So cool.
It's and that's only because I started making silly sourdough videos, then started sharing more of my life as a private chef, and just stopped giving too much of a shit of what people thought, and put it out there. And people someone goes, "Oh, that's Herc. I saw Herc doing this. I want Herc to do this." And also you can show that you can make good food. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "I make the best food." It's so silly. I'm not.
No.
We were speaking about Sid before. I will never go to Sid's level. Never.
Nah,
Sid would have been.
Not many people can.
No. Sid would have been at a high level at 22. I'm 28 years old. I'm not pretending. I'm not trying to be that level. What I am going is look, I can make pretty decent food. I can market myself. I can probably market your product. And I'm trying to build a level of clout's the wrong word.
No, I know what you mean.
What is it? Like a certain level where people go, "I want her to do my wedding."
It's a brand.
You're
building your brand.
It's the reason why we wear why I'm wearing this shirt as opposed to watch. It's the reason, why people wear Nike shirts. Why I'm wearing these pants, because I want to associate with that brand, and I want people to go, "I want her to do my wedding."
TikTokers are on runways.
They're
not models. But it's like, oh, that's so-and-so, the TikToker. Who cares? It's like Hailey Bailey at the moment, like going to every single big thing, right? Hailey Bailey, the creator from New York, she's like, I don't know, 15 million followers now. Only started probably 2 years ago at best, not even that. just at the Met Gala. She goes to the Oscars, goes to all the things. Not because she's got anything except that people like,
what's her thing? What's her thing?
She just does skits. She had this whole thing where she did like, she pretended to have a billionaire boyfriend. So she used to be a swimsuit model.
Yep.
And then gave up that life and started doing TikToks over lockdown like everyone else did. And it blew up. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it wasn't even over lockdown. It was October 2022 she started. She got, I think she had a divorce. Her ex-partner was quite wealthy. She got a really fucking nice apartment in Soho, New York. And the guy in New York who walks around is like, hey, like, how much do you pay for rent in New York? Oh, I pay much. Can I go do a tour of your house?
Yeah.
So he did it with her just off the street in October 2022. And then she's like, yeah, sure. He sees her apartment. He's like, wait, this is outrageous. It started blowing up.
Yep.
And then so she started putting out content the next day and it took off.
Yes.
And then literally within 11 months when I first met her in New York and talked to her, she was like in 11 months, so it must be November 22, she 11 million followers.
Oh my God.
It's insane.
That's crazy, hey.
And now she's like everywhere.
Yeah.
But not because she's going to be the best at what she does, the best celebrity.
Yeah.
But it's the clout piece. She's the it girl. She's the New York it girl.
Yeah. She has to maintain it as well because there have been 100 other it girls beforehand. Others. And how do you maintain your thing? You got to stay up to date with it, don't you?
You got to. Yeah. And like, to be honest, she's real clever. She's a real smart girl. She just needs to build a business out of it. At the moment, she's getting paid so much for appearances and stuff. Like we saw her. I probably say it on this camera because I'll probably get in trouble. But we saw her fee structure, and it's huge.
Wow!
Like one post is like more than most of my guys get paid in a year.
Yeah.
One Instagram post.
Yeah. Absurd. Honestly, that's what you start to realize. Hey, you suddenly start. I've got to a point where I'm kind of making the same amount of money on social media as private chefing.
Yep.
And they should go hand in hand and keep pushing up in terms of what I charge.
Yeah.
But the social media stuff it's impressive what you can make through that. Hey.
Oh, 100%. And like you've got a really good niche because chefing, cooking, that world is such an established media world. It's such an established media world with very good like brands who understand celebrity chefs and this world. Whereas like it's very different in other lifestyle markets. They're not as used to having these sort of like pseudo celebrities with chefs, right? Because like in the say makeup world, it's always been actresses and models who are already famous for something else.
Yep.
But with chefs, like they're kind of not really famous except you've now made them famous by putting them on TV or something.
Yes.
Right. And but now like there's a lot of chefs who are sponsored by these people, even just having lots of restaurants, right? Because their restaurants are so good. So they'll have their brand. Like Sid is a good example.
Yep.
Sid's always getting offers.
Yeah.
But not necessarily because he's got massive socials. The socials aren't that big. He's Sid. Like people know him. They know he's one of the best chefs in New Zealand. And so because of that, the brands are used to paying these sort of like, I wouldn't say like not normal famous people for brand deals. So when the influencer chefs came along, like yourself, it was already an established market.
Yeah.
So what you make in that world is so different to like lifestyle creators. Lifestyle creators in New Zealand are not getting great money.
Yeah.
Like not unless they're huge.
Yeah.
Not unless they're huge.
Yeah.
So
but they get to go on pretty amazing trips, don't they? Lifestyle creators.
I mean, they get like PR events and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're also like from New Zealand. They're not great. Like they might go to Sydney.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's cool. Like it's cool when you're 22.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Like I wasn't doing that at 22.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go on PR events. You know, that's amazing.
Yep.
But like what I love about your world is that you essentially are a business that has a TikTok and an Instagram, not an Instagram that then gets sponsored, you know? You get what I mean? Like you're the private chef first.
Yeah.
One quick thing I want to ask you, because I realize it's already 5:15, is that
oh shit, are we flying through this?
Yeah, we only got like 10 minutes before we're at an hour.
Okay.
Is how much are you willing to share? Like how do you charge for private chefing? Like I know that number probably will continue to rise the bigger you get.
Yeah. Oh man, I struggled, Stanley, for so long.
I don't know how you'd price this.
And you know what it's like? Being a freelancer, you struggle to value yourself.
100%.
Luckily, I'm with an agency now for social media stuff, so they take control of that, which is really helpful because I don't have to deal with it anymore.
And it's a minefield anyway.
Yeah, but when it comes to catering for dinner parties, I charge by the head now, and that makes things really easy. I have a price for single course, 2 course, and 3 course.
Cool.
Really straightforward.
Sweet.
So when, because sometimes someone will go, 150 people for canapes, and then someone will go 8 people for 3-course dinner, 50 people for 2 courses, and you're going, holy shit, how do I do this? Oh man, I'm trying to figure out what to charge, and then you just have a by the head.
Cool.
Simple.
Easy. So no different to how a hotel would do it for events. Same way.
Yep.
You just have a price per thing.
Yep.
And so, what about like something like going over to France for 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you think about pricing something for that?
Well, that I'm quite happy and honest, happy to be open and honest about that. I'm not getting paid well for a lot of my work that I'm doing overseas.
Okay.
Not getting paid badly. But I would be able to make more money here if it was summertime. But obviously I'm quieter in wintertime. There's much less bigger events. But if I can go overseas for 2 months and put myself in new environments, which I don't know what will come from them. That's always something. It's something my mum's always said to me as well. My mum's always been like, look, you might not get paid well. You might not get paid at all. But you're going to go into a new environment and put yourself in foreign situations and learn a shit ton and potentially build a relationship with certain people that might go, oh, Herc, can you do this for me once every year? We'll fly you over there. I'm getting free flights and stuff, which is awesome. And getting to cook for all sorts of different people. And you never know where these opportunities will go.
No.
I've always tried to do that. That's like mum saying to me, Herc, go and ask him for a job on a Friday. You just don't know what will happen. Dude, if I didn't do that, holy shit.
You wouldn't be sitting here.
I do not know what I'd be doing.
No.
Do not know.
No.
And those little decisions.
You'd be a little graphic designer for some brand agency or something.
Just no. And
you'd be on that intern table. Nah. Just joking.
And I had no idea what to do or how well I'm going to do it and not have a passion.
Yeah, I think that is an interesting point. Like we talk about that with the interns that we have. Like we have a lot of people who want to intern with us. And we're like, look, we don't need you. We don't need interns. If you want a job with us, apply for a job. So when we do have interns, because they're like, people are like, no, we really want to come work, learn. We're like, all right, well, it's unpaid internship, and this is what it is. Like, we don't pay the interns. We don't get them to work on.
And what do they say then? Do half of them turn around and go,
bunch. We're so public about it that now we don't get people who ask. That everyone knows now. They know. That we don't pay, so we still get the good. They still get a bunch of them, but you're right. There's a bunch of them like, mate, we have had them sort of turn around once we told them, and then they just would give us another reason. Oh, look, it's not right or whatever. But
that's how you fish out the people that are willing to work and the people that aren't willing to work. It's so obvious, and you don't know that when you're younger.
No, you don't know. And our big thing is, and what I've been saying to the guys, like, you just got to make sure that we can't be profiting off their time. That's a big thing I don't do. Like, because I came from the hospitality world where you would get like almost like unpaid apprentices pretty much working for free, but they were making the business money. And I just wasn't about it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I'm like, look, if like we've got one girl on the team now who's an intern and she's actually doing productive work. So I've said to her, log all your time. I'll pay you for it. Like you're going to get paid minimum wage, but I'm going to pay you for it. Because you are still learning.
Yeah. And how long was this person working for you unpaid?
Roughly 3 months. 3 months before we did anything.
Holy shit. I mean, that, dude, if someone's willing to do that.
And full time.
Full time.
Wow.
Came from Belgium.
Wow.
Came from Belgium to work for
good chocolate and hard workers, hey?
6 months. Right. 5 months actually total with us. 4 months.
I'm not entirely sure, but a while.
4 months. 4 months total with us. 3 months is unpaid, and then the last month, which is now in May, she's getting paid like for all the hours she works on the client. But when she's not working on that particular client, she's not getting paid. Still one is unpaid. She had to do it as part of a university, as part of it. But I guess what I was saying is like you got to take those opportunities. If you really want stuff in life and you don't have anything, like it's a good. So I'm all about working cheap or free. I've done heaps of it in my life. The only reason I got to become like get to the top of like the hospitality game is because I did everything. Like I'd put my hand out. Like I wanted more shifts because I was like casual at the time, and so I went down to concierge and I was just like, I want to do concierge. I need more shifts. They're like, you've never done it. I was like, I'll work for free. I'll just turn up every Saturday, Sunday, work for free, and that's what I did until he was like, oh, like with the chef leaving with you, same thing.
Oh, I need you to do something.
I actually need something now. I'm like, cool, now you can pay me. And they're like, yeah, sure, put you on the roster. until then I could do every job in the hotel, and then I became a GM. Wow. And I started running hotels, right?
From the bottom, hey?
You know, this is what you do, like when you want to do it. So I'm all for that. So if you, so if we think about like, I'm going to try to wrap up a whole bunch that I wanted to talk to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We dragged down certain subjects.
I am really happy with that because we went to some places that I didn't realize we'd get to. And I think it's important because I think there's a lot of people out there who listen to this who always ask me at such a fundamental level of like, how do I get started with content? And who have knowledge like you've had where you're just like, I didn't know how to make Willet sourdough straight away.
Yeah.
I threw shit at a wall and then I got it.
Man, that's such a big thing. Eh?
Yeah.
And I have friends that are creatives as well. And people are scared to put something out in the open because you want this thing, whether it's a big project or luckily I make short form content. Yeah. And that's just like put it out there, sweet. Someone sees it once, cool, whatever. I'm not trying to write a hit song or anything. So I'm not putting, I don't dwell on this thing forever. I just make it to a certain level. Like, oh, that's fun, cool, put it out there. And just start putting stuff out there. But people are so scared, hey. People are so scared to and I understand it. You know, if you're gonna try and show a bit of your personality online in a video, be prepared for people to be like, that's a bit shit, or you did that the wrong way, or you don't know how to cook.
If you're getting those comments, there's 100 positive ones next to it.
But what do we focus on, man? The negatives. No. Yeah. My life is amazing. I love my life, but I still come home sometimes from work and go, fuck, I'm just knackered. I'm sad or upset about certain things. And you dwell on that and you have to try and catch yourself and go, dude, like, I'm so lucky to be doing what I'm doing. And the way you do that is by seeing what goes on in the world.
You know, a real interesting thing, which is like probably so off topic right now, but on TikTok, my wife, she's always like talking about these videos and all the negativity in the comments and stuff. And I'm like, man, like, what do you watch? Like, I never see this. I don't know what you're talking about. And anyway, so there was this video that she told me about where a millennial dipped her hair in the water and then flicked it back and was like, and she does this whole thing with her hair. She's like, did any other millennials out there do this when they were kids? Blah, blah, blah. This is fun, blah, blah. And then Claire was like, I did that. That's fun. Went in the comments and everyone's like ripping into this lady going, how are you a millennial? You look 60. Like, how the blah, blah, blah. Like just ripping into this woman.
TikTok comments, man. TikTok comments.
And I was like, hey, I think this is one of those times we need to test this. Send me the link and I'll open it up too. So I opened up the same video, which had like 8 million views or whatever. I hit the comments. And my comments were like, yeah, me too. I love that. Really? You're so cool. This is what I did when I was there. And Claire's was just like, you're fat. You shouldn't be on TikTok. Yeah. You're too old. And mine's like, I love this. This is awesome.
What's so amazing about that is that we think that TikTok is just like, oh, it's just people putting videos up and it's just the comments are there. No, it's being changed. Like you're
based on what you
things.
Interact with, right? Yeah. And she was like,
that's like a whole nother level of you get showed certain content that you like that the algorithm knows you're going to like, but that's a whole nother level of like commentary. In depth of we're going to show some people these comments, other people's.
And like,
it's interesting from TikTok though, to do that because it would push people off from.
I had a feeling this was happening on her page because she always talked negative about the commentary that she'd see, and I was like, I just don't see negative comments. I'm always positive. And then and she used to do the same about our
you don't scroll for long enough in the comments, bro.
No, I don't. And this is what I said to her. I said like. So she got angry. She was like, this is so shit, TikTok shit. And I was like, you know what? It's not TikTok's fault. You train the algorithm to serve you this. Like, I'm really good on my algorithm of like, why am I seeing this? Not interested. Do not show me this again. I don't want to see it. Like, I'm always going through it to clean up my algorithm.
Yeah. Is the old not interested button still there?
On TikTok, it's changed. I can't remember what it is now, but like, I just won't interact and I'll try and move through things. On YouTube, definitely. Yep. I do it all the time. I just had to do a big clean out that day. My YouTube shorts like turned into this real weird crap. Yeah. Clean up. But anyway, so I thought that was quite interesting because like when we put up a TikTok on our own, like on Attention Seekers and it goes off and we get like, I don't know, a bunch of comments. When I scroll through, I'm like, oh, people love us. Yeah. Claire scrolls through. She's like, everyone's hating on you, Stan. I'm like, where is it? I don't see it. I have to scroll for ages, you know? So,
and what it's good to make yourself aware of those negative comments. You can't just be like, the sun shines out of my ass and I'm only going to look at the good stuff. Yeah. If I've served someone food that's really awesome and they're like, fuck yeah. And if I serve some people that they're like, oh, that's not good enough. You're like, oh shit, all right. I need to up my game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you
and you need feedback. And I think that I still will I'm good enough to know that like we go through every comment and like our comms management team will bring up things if they're patterns and stuff to make sure we know. But like just like from a feeling, like I don't get the feeling of negativity that Claire, my wife, gets, which I thought was quite interesting for people. But anyway, I keep going on tangents, and what I wanted to ask you,
it's very interesting.
It is an interesting thing.
It's really funny talking. This is my first podcast, and it's really funny how well conversation flows when you're like, I've got to be excited, I've got to talk about things, and everything's really
it's all
interesting.
Relevant. And it's all interesting, and especially because like it's when worlds collide.
Yep.
Like you smash two worlds together, and you're like, oh, this is interesting, and you feed off each other because of it. Yeah. I want to ask you something that I definitely want to ask you about. I want to ask you about Mr. Sanders.
Oh yeah.
I want you to tell me about this experience because I missed out on it, and I'm really angry about it. Yeah. Yeah. But it looked fucking cool. Yeah. What was your experience of it though? Because I only saw it from the glamorous social media side.
Exactly. That's what you see, man. That's what you see. That was my first time back in a commercial kitchen for a while. Yeah. For 1 week straight, we did 5 nights and 3 or 4 lunches. Yeah. So very much back into the all go. Yeah. First thing in the morning until the end of the evening. And at first, when KFC approached me, they went through my agency, and I thought, I'm not sure if this is me or not. I'm never going to go, hey guys, eat KFC. I love KFC. Yeah. That's pointless. That's not me. Yeah. What I will do though is if someone says, hey Herc, can you make an elevated KFC product for a like 5-course short special 1 week only event? Yeah. Absolutely. That's like there's a little bit of the child inside you that used to eat a lot of KFC and go, oh man, how can I like fuck with this and make it like this and try and make it a bit more fancy? Yeah. It was a hell of an experience, man, because I do big jobs all the time. I've done weddings for like the biggest number I've cooked for is 120 people for, obviously with help. Yeah. And that's a one-off thing. That's like one night, one big wedding, cool. Yeah. Get it done. There's 3 or 4 days of and all the shit beforehand. But doing the Colonel Sanders thing, Mr. Sanders, man, it was a whole nother level. The lead up to it all, doing the marketing for it, making promos, going in for the photo shoots beforehand, the prep in the 2 days leading up to the Monday where we started, doing the taste tests before. It was very much a reminder of what I don't want to be doing. And saying that, I enjoyed it all. It was a hell of an experience. The team that I worked with, putting the marketing on, the KFC team, was so awesome to work with. And actually, it was the first time, I said this to you before we started recording, one thing I miss about hospitality and one thing I lack in my job is a bit lonely. You're doing a lot of shit by yourself. Yeah. And this was working with a team in terms of an agency team. Yep. Working with the KFC team and then putting together, I have a few chefs that come and help me for jobs and bringing them together and being like, guys, I'm going to need you for 1 week straight. I told them like 2 months in advance. Yeah. And the camaraderie of that, so awesome. Yeah. And you felt so...
And once you finish...
Yeah. And so the first day, the lead up to it, you're, how am I going to make this happen? We've done all the prep, but I'm nervous. And it happens and you go, all right, that was all right. The Tuesday comes along and you go, shit, this is our first big day. Yeah. Lunch and dinner. You do it, it works. The Wednesday comes along and you go, we're halfway through the week, everything's going swimmingly. Yeah. We go again and you go and suddenly you're 1 day away from the final day and then you're there on the final day and you go, holy shit, it worked. It was a raging success. And how good do you feel at the end of that? Yeah. But also, I feel sorry for people that do that full time, man. And so much respect to those people.
There's no way I would. Yeah. I've said to my wife before, like, if we ever get back into the hospitality industry, I'm only going in as an owner. There's no way I'm doing any hands-on. I want nothing to do with it. I love hospo. I did not leave hospo because I didn't like it. I love it. Yeah. I don't ever want to work in that environment again. It's too hard. As a business owner, fine. As the operator, no fucking way. I want to ask you a question about that. When you took on the job, like, did you just know you could do it, or was there like a hesitancy there? Like,
Stanley, this happens like maybe 6 times a year. Yeah. I will go, I'll take that job because it's in 6 months' time. Or it's in like 2 months' time. I can make that happen. I'll worry about it then. Yeah. And it slowly starts approaching and you go, holy shit, I have to make this happen. Yeah. And somehow you do it, dude.
You just figure it out.
Yeah.
So you just like essentially like blindly accept like, no way I'm going to turn down this opportunity because the money's right or whatever and it's cool. Yeah. And then you figure it out.
Yeah, and you figure it out, and 99% of the time with my career, I've figured it out. There have been times for sure, really, where I've accepted something, and people have pushed you a little bit further away from what you do.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to do KFC, Mr. Sanders, it's my way of doing it.
Yeah.
And people start going, oh, can you just do a little, and you start stretching further away from what you are. People want Herc to do it.
Yeah.
Because they want Herc, because he can market it well.
Face.
And they also, they want the face. They know the social media following. Cool, we'll get Herc to do it all. He's the package in there.
Yeah.
Can you start doing different food? And I'm not saying KFC were doing this, but I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
You move away from what you are. And sometimes you do get pushed away from what you are. And you go, shit, I'm not happy with what I'm doing now. Yeah. I'm being pushed to do different food.
Yeah.
It's like a content creator being pushed to do slightly different content. You don't feel content. You know what you're good at. You know how you do your thing. And if you're paying me to do something for you, let me do it my way, and it'll work for both parties.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a big
don't get Brad Pitt to do a different, I don't know, like a horror film. Or I don't, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Don't get an actor who only does comedies to do horror. That's the thing.
You're not hiring a model. You're hiring actual creatives.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're going to hire them, let them do the creative direction because they know what their audiences want. They did it. They built their audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, it's a tough thing, hey, Stanley, like when it comes to content as well.
Yeah. Oh, we have heaps. Like we had a discovery before this interview with a new client that's coming on board. And like most of the first session we do with clients in the first 90 minutes is after setting their goals for the campaign that we're trying to do with them. It's like, all right, like you guys are going to get nervous and you're going to want to do everything your own way as we get into this. Yeah. So we're going to set some boundaries now of like, where's the lines? How do we cross them? How much are you trusting us? What do you definitely not want to do? Because like ultimately what happens if you don't have those conversations probably at the beginning, you get down the line and the client's doing exactly what you're saying. Like, actually, I think we should do this. It's like, oh, you know, you just paid me a 5 to 6 figure sum for this.
Yeah.
For you to tell me what we should do for you.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
So that first sessions for us is always just like trying to set those rules with them.
Yeah.
And like the bigger the brand, the more they push back. Yeah. And we encourage them to, but we encourage it for the dialogue to find the middle ground.
Yes.
Because like, at the end of the day, you're getting paid to do a thing. And so you can't just say to the client, no, do it my way or fuck off. I mean, you could, but like you're going to alienate yourself.
That's what you're thinking.
You better be the best in the world.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Exactly.
If you're that exclusive,
if you can back it up like that,
you've got to be the best in the world, right? Whereas we don't try to be the best in the world. We're just we can do a really fucking good job. So we're going to meet you somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But we're not going to fully take all your ideas. Yeah. You're paying us to do this. But you got to set those boundaries.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How long have you been in this realm, this
creative world? Like, I started this business. I moved back to New Zealand in October 2019.
Yeah.
And then we had our first client in May 2020. Yeah. And so back then, I mean, it was definitely not a creative agency. We were like helping people get leads on LinkedIn. Yeah. I was building my brand on LinkedIn. That was my first platform I used because I was more B2B. And then we started putting out TikToks in July 22. Yeah, it must have been July 22. And we got our first like proper big social media client and a year ago, pretty much. Just over a year ago now, Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Dania started when that started. She was a year ago today. Yeah. So, we've been doing the business. This is our 5th year in business. But mostly probably about 2 and a bit years now and like more creative.
But prior to that, it was still in this world, wasn't it? It wasn't hospitality.
Nah.
Really?
I came straight out of running a hotel.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow. I was a general manager of a hotel in Melbourne.
Okay. I
did like literally like, so... Man, I'm not old enough to have done that. Like I might look 55, but I'm only 37. My career started top of the Sky Tower. Yep. So I was at the Observatory restaurant that used to be there, the buffet restaurant. So I worked as a busser there. Then I quit uni because I was the same as you. I couldn't learn at uni. Yep. I love school, but like uni wasn't for me. Went to the Gold Coast, got into hospital again there. Worked through a bunch of different hotels and restaurants and stuff. Went to London, did a stint there. Japan, did a stint there. Ran hotels. By the end of it, I was running hotels in Melbourne, or a hotel in Melbourne. I had 12 jobs in 11 years. I was like the Mr. Fix-It. Like they used to send me in places and like, this place isn't working so well. Like go on and fix it. I got to the end of that hospitality career and I was like, I want to own my own business. Like I had a moment where I was on my first holiday in 2.5 years. Yep. I was in India for a friend's wedding. The hotel I was running was awesome. I was cranking it. We were doing more in profit that January than they had ever done in revenue any year before. So like it was going good and I was away. But the owners kept on sending emails out to me and my bosses complaining where was I, the owners of the hotel. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what more do you want from me? Like, I'm literally I'm making you bank. Like in that financial year, I had made them an additional $1 million cleared, like after tax. Wasn't never enough. And so that's when I said to Claire, like, we got to do our own thing. I can't buy a hotel because I don't have a spare $50 million. And I don't want to run a restaurant because restaurants don't make money. So let's get out of hospital. Let's find something else. And so I started building my brand on LinkedIn in October 2019. Wow. And then this.
But for context, you were using LinkedIn in the hotels to find.
I knew LinkedIn,
so that's where it all.
So LinkedIn, I knew LinkedIn because of hotels. So I'd hired a LinkedIn coach back in hotels, and it would work really well there. So I'd spent about 6 months learning how to use LinkedIn to generate business. And so now I always knew I had skill sets, and I knew a lot. Like I was really good at running businesses and leading people in hotels. And so when I moved to New Zealand, so I moved back to New Zealand because I had family and we could live for free, and I didn't want to chew up all my money in rent. So I could live with family. And then, and then do you want me to push pause, stop, and start again? I'll just wrap up. And then, anyway, I got here. And then, fuck, it's been a crazy ride, bro. Been absolute nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what, 5 years? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it's like 4.5 years now.
That's a quick turnaround.
5 years, October.
Yep.
Mental. Anyway, I think that was Connor telling us we should shut up and move on.
Yep.
Bro, there's so much more I'd want to talk to you about, but I think that
part two,
part two for sure. And we'll do some fun shit together. I think there's heaps of opportunity when you get back. We should talk because we have heaps of clients in the food space, and I think there's just cool shit we could do. We're always trying to.
That's what you want to do, man.
You can already see it, Connor. They're out there. We should have got them for that filming there. But bro, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's so awesome to meet you finally.
An absolute pleasure, Stanley, honestly. I was worried about coming on like the show, man. I've never done this sort of thing before, but hey, you made me feel super comfortable.
Nah, you're awesome, man.
Thank you,
awesome.
bro. Very grateful.
Cheers.
Cheers.